Guys, welcome into another edition of Right on Rangers Live. We are finishing out the Rangers game tonight in the top of the ninth with you. Rangers currently lead 5-1 against the Seattle Mariners. One out. Grant Anderson is on, just allowed a single on a base hit up the middle. 9-hole spot up for the Mariners. We'll see if they have anything left here, but hopefully the Rangers are on their way to winning the second game of this series against Seattle. Tomorrow there'll be a day game, so quick turnaround for the Rangers after tonight's ball game. But we're going to finish out this game with you here in the top of the ninth. 1-1 count at the moment. Looks like just went 2-1. So, guys, obviously, here at Right on Rangers, we cover pretty much all things sports, but we put a little bit of an extra emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers. Thank you for joining us here tonight. We surely appreciate it. We'll give you a little bit of a run through of all of the events of the game, and we will do our best to recap some of the big moments as we always do. We'll take comments, we'll take questions along the way. But again, thank you for being with us here tonight. Hopefully, we'll finish out a Rangers victory while we're at it. So let's go ahead and let's check out some of the scoring in this one. So, of course, the Mariners drew first blood, led 1-0 from the top of the first until the Rangers bats woke up and got going. Home run ball in play for the Rangers tonight. That is always a good sight to see. In the top of the first, though, Mitch Haniger grounded into a forced out, and the Mariners were able to score a run off of that one. Gray did well, I think, to limit the damage in that first inning. And speaking of Jon Gray, let's kind of talk about his night a little bit. We've got Grant Anderson, by the way, still battling with the 9-hole spot for the Mariners. Looks like we've got a 3-2 count at this point. So Jon Gray goes 4 2/3, 1 run allowed, only 1 walk. I think that was the really big thing that I absolutely loved about Jon Gray's start. He did throw a lot of pitches in this one, but only 1 walk. For me, that's a big thing. Last night, I know I talked about it on the live. Walks have just been killing the Rangers starting pitching, just absolutely killing, I would say, our chances of winning a lot of these ball games. Whenever you're giving guys free bases, it's just never going to go well for you. And a lot of the Rangers starters, in my opinion, have not done well with the walk. Even Evo, I think, has walked too many guys by his standards. So good to see a Rangers starter only giving up 1 walk tonight. That being said, 7 hits allowed by Jon Gray. I can't say that he had his best stuff tonight, but 7 strikeouts, again, nearly goes 5 total innings. Didn't quite get the win tonight, as you don't go 5, you're not eligible for it. So Jon Gray still missing that elusive first victory of the season. By the way, 2 outs now in the top of the ninth. And it looks like that is ball game. Rangers win 5-1. We've got Grant Anderson finishing out the game for the Rangers. Looks like Rojas just was retired to end the game. So I'll tell you what, always good to see a Rangers victory. Always good. So I'm absolutely thrilled that the Rangers were able to bounce back as they were. Bad loss last night. I mean, I think the A's loss when it was 1-0 was worse. I think y'all remember that, or maybe some of y'all tried to get that one out of your memory completely. But I want to say that when we lost 1-0 to the A's, that was probably worse. But that being said, 1-0, or the way that we lost last night, 4-0, probably up there with one of the worst losses. 2 hits through the bottom of the ninth inning. It was not a good day for the Rangers yesterday. But the bats come alive today. Home runs in this game by Garcia and by Carter as well. Good to see Evan Carter with the home run swing going, man. I mean, he really started off in a mire. And to see Evan Carter hitting the ball well, going 2 for 4 tonight. I mean, is it any surprise, though, that he's not in the 3 spot, less pressure. You're in what the 5 spot tonight for Evan Carter, Nate Lowe hitting third, and you've got Evan Carter doing much better at the plate, maybe a little bit more relaxed, a little less pressure. I really, really think that moving Evan Carter out of that spot is good for now. Can they get him back into that 3 spot eventually? Absolutely. But I really like the fact that we bumped Evan Carter down to the 5 spot, a little less pressure, much like we did with Wyatt Langford. Wyatt Langford hitting in the 7 spot tonight. And look at what we got, 3 for 3 night. So I love that they've decided to let these rookies hit a little bit lower in the lineup. And I think it has paid dividends. I think it's going to pay dividends. I love Nate Lowe in the 3 spot. Even if Nate Lowe isn't maybe a prototypical 3-hole hitter in most people's minds, he gives you a good at bat. He can hit homers, and he has good vision up at the plate. Tonight, 2 walks, 0 for 1. So he was on base multiple times, hitting .333 on the year. I think 3 spot is perfect for Nate Lowe. Perfect. So I really hope that they ride this lineup for a little while. I really do. I like Carter in the 5-hole. I like Langford in the 7-hole. Langford, man, that dude just missed a home run tonight, didn't he? Man, he drove that ball to right center field, probably 2 feet below the yellow line. And then to make it even worse, trips around second base, going for a triple. Man, I feel bad for Wyatt Langford. That first home run is coming, man. It's got to be coming soon because he is doing just about everything he can. He's come really close a couple of times, but Wyatt Langford, great night tonight. Almost got that first career homer, boosted his average up to 260. Really, really big. So let's kind of recap things here. So bottom of the 4th, Dolly hits the homer to make it a tie ball game, 1-1. Evan Carter goes back-to-back with Dolly. That's probably the moment of the game, right? Evan Carter, Dolly going back-to-back, 4 spot, 5 spot, and the Rangers take that 2-1 lead. And from there, they never look back, right? That was the 4th inning. Jonah Heim had a nice RBI single on a line drive to right field. Smith scored on that one. Langford scored. There was a fielding error on Mitch Haniger that kind of allowed some base runners to advance there. And then in the bottom of the 7th, Evan Carter hitting a triple to right field. Adoli scored on that one. So Evan Carter, big time performance from him from the 5 spot. I think the lineup movements are good. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I sometimes get it right. Sometimes I get it right. I can't say that it's always, but occasionally here at Right on Rangers, we get it right. And I do really feel like moving some of those guys down, moving the rookies into a little bit of a low pressure or more of a low pressure situation. I think it did really, really help things. And I hope that they keep this going. Leave Evan Carter in the 5 spot. Leave Wyatt Langford down there at the bottom of the order. I mean, what a luxury. You've got a hitter like Wyatt Langford hitting 7th. You know it, and I've said this multiple times, but when he hits that first bomb, I just really feel like there's going to be a click, and we're going to see him just absolutely explode as a hitter. I really feel confident that he is going to take it to another level. And once that first home run comes, it's just going to start pouring him. So that's Wyatt Langford, 3 for 3 tonight. 261 average, raises it up. Heim goes 2 for 4 as well. Rangers had 3 guys with multi-hit nights. Oddly enough, Seager, Semien go over, and the Rangers still win. That doesn't happen very often. At least I don't feel like it does. I mean, both Semien and Siegs drew a walk tonight, but it's not very often that your top 2 hitters go over and you still get a victory. But when you've got the bottom of the order raking what you got, let's see, 7, 8, 9. Leote goes over, but you've got 5 hits between your 7 and 8 hole hitters. That's phenomenal. And that's pretty much the difference in the game, along with, of course, the long ball from Dolly, from Evan Carter. We did call Evan Carter home run as well before the game today in the reel that we put out. We called Evan Carter home run. We said Jon Gray was going to get his first win. That was 1 out away from happening. And Siegs, had he not come out of the game there at the end, maybe he gets that home run that we predicted. Seager did have a pretty solid hit. Obviously, it ended up in an out, but over 100 miles an hour, took it the opposite way, left center field. I don't know. I feel like Siegs had good at bats tonight and did not look as lost. Now, what's this injury going to be? I don't know. I'm hopeful that it's not anything serious, but we'll have to get an update after the game. You guys let me know in the chat if anybody hears an update on Seager, if it was just precautionary. I'm sure it's probably just like, he's sore or some kind of contusion or something like that. Oh yeah, no problem. I know hockey game's on right now. So all y'all that are still watching regardless of the Stars game that's on, appreciate you. Yeah, check it out later. But thanks for catching in. Thanks for stopping in for a little bit. So let's keep on going. Let's talk about the pitching because once again, for another night in a row, the Rangers bullpen gives up 0 runs. 0 runs. That is a phenomenal accomplishment for this club because we all know as Rangers fans, the one thing that has always plagued us for the past, I feels like decade almost, is the bullpen. And the bullpen the past 2 nights, even though we didn't get the win last night, 0 runs allowed. That's huge. So you had Hernandez, who is fresh off the IL. Hernandez comes up, gives you an inning and a third, no hits, 1 walk, and a strikeout. Great to see him coming out with a strong performance against a division rival. I really kind of felt it, and I don't know if any of y'all felt this way too, but when he came into the game, I was kind of like, oh boy. Like this is a close game. We had just taken the lead. I'm like, okay, is this really the spot that we want to see Hernandez make his 2024 season debut? It wasn't my favorite choice at the time, but of course, that's why Bochy and Maddox get paid the big bucks. So Hernandez comes in, inning and a third, and gives up no runs, strikes out 1. And then Robertson comes in with the 2-inning hold, 4 strikeouts in 2 innings for Robertson. Great to see him continuing to perform at such a high level. Robertson lowers that ERA to 126 on the year. So you've got David Robertson with a 126 ERA 1 month in, and you've got Kirby Yates 1 month in with a 0 ERA. Robertson and Yates just so invaluable. And I loved that we were able to save Yates tonight. Didn't have to throw Kirby Yates tonight. Kirby Yates last week got a lot of usage. Was asked to save, I think, 3 4-out saves total. Kirby Yates. That's not easy to do. 3 4-out saves in a row for your closer. Nice to get him a rest, especially with the day game tomorrow, a quick turnaround. To have Grant Anderson come in, and Grant Anderson looked pretty good. Did give up a hit, but Grant Anderson, newly recalled from AAA. I think the transaction, if I'm not mistaken, was Austin Pruitt, a relief pitcher for the Rangers, goes on the IL. Grant Anderson gets recalled today, and they use him in what's pretty close to a safe situation. And he gets 2 Ks, and he gets out of the 9th inning unscathed completely. Huge from Grant Anderson. Grant Anderson, up to this point, in my opinion, not having a great season. I think the numbers back that up. 12 ERA for Grant Anderson, even after this performance tonight. A 12 ERA is not good. So Grant Anderson has some work to do, I think, to get the Rangers coaching staff a little bit more confident in him. But a game like this goes a long, long way in making that happen. So good to see Grant Anderson taking advantage of an opportunity. We talk about this all the time here on these lives. Some of these guys coming up from the minor leagues, obviously they've got their options and a certain amount of times that you can send them down, call them up. But Grant Anderson is a guy I feel like is not going to be getting a million chances. I think he's got a few more chances up at the big league level with the Rangers to prove himself. I mean, he's been getting sent down, recalled with some frequency between August of last year and right now. So I think Grant Anderson, Who knows how long he's going to be up with the big league club, but I really feel like this needs to be his call up where he performs and performs well if he wants to stick around and be a part of this bullpen. Now, I don't know what CY and what Bochy and Maddox and all those guys are thinking about him long term, but it feels like Grant Anderson is just kind of at one of those crossroads moments where he really needs to start shining if he wants to be a part of what the Rangers are doing long term. I think he's got the stuff. Now he's just got to piece it all together. And an outing like this from him tonight, big step for him. Hope it continues. Really hope it does. So let's go ahead and let's start looking at a couple other things. We're going to talk about Max Scherzer tonight. I did see that he gave up a couple of home runs in his rehab start, but we'll talk a little Max Scherzer, and we'll get into a couple of other transactions as well that the Rangers have gone through in the past couple of days. But let's go ahead and let's take a look around the league and see what's going on right now. Angels lost today 6-5 to the Orioles. Mariners now are a half game back of the Rangers with their loss to us tonight. Looks like the A's lost to the Yankees. The Astros lose to the Cubs. And what? Look, I'm not dissatisfied, but what is going on in Houston right now? I mean, you love to see it. You love to see it, but what is going on in Houston? I saw a tweet from one of the Rangers media people. Houston's like 4-3 against us, right? They're like 3-15 against everybody else in Major League Baseball. That is crazy. So Houston loses another. So we've got everybody in division losing. It's a great day to be a Rangers fan. Everybody in the division loses. Rangers win, gain a full game on everybody. You got to love it. So that is our AL West roundup. Talking to y'all about scores around the AL West. Everybody loses. It is a great day to be a Rangers fan. And half game up on the Mariners, obviously. We talked about that. But in terms of the lead over other teams, Rangers right now, 3 games up on the Angels, 4 games up on the A's, 6 games up on the Stros. Nice to have a little separation there. Nice to have a little 6-game separation. You got to feel like Houston is going to figure it out. I mean, that's how I feel. You're just kind of waiting for that click, and then they're just going to rattle off 7 to 8 straight wins like it's nothing, and they're going to look like the best team in baseball. I mean, at least I kind of feel that way. But with that being said, maybe not. Maybe not. This is, I think, pretty troubling from Houston. I mean, love it if you're a Rangers fan, and I do, but troubling for sure if you're a Houston fan that you're on a 4-game skid, you're playing some interleague teams, and look, it was a tight game today, but the Cubs kind of smoked them the past couple of days. I mean, some of those games were not close. So Houston, another game tomorrow at Chicago, and then we'll take a look at the weekend series. Rangers are going to be playing the Reds, some interleague play. So looks like the Rangers are kind of making the rounds on the NL Central right now, as are all the other AL West teams. So we shall see what happens. We shall see. But Friday looks like for other teams around, A's are going to be playing the Orioles this weekend. We've got the Astros are playing. Let me see. Are they might have an off day on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Mariners go back home and play the D-backs. D-backs are 12-14 right now. We've got the A's playing Orioles. We talked about that. And then Angels are going to be playing the Twins. So I think Houston might be off on Friday. And on Saturday, looks like they have... My goodness. I'm having trouble tonight, y'all. Man, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. To be determined. Sorry to leave y'all on a cliffhanger. Anyways, let's keep on going. Let's talk a little Max Scherzer. So Max Scherzer out on his rehab assignment, and he was, I think, hit around a little bit tonight, but I think he ended up striking out 4, if I'm not mistaken. but did give up a couple home runs. In rehab starts, I really don't feel like you can put everything into how the rehab starts are going. I do think you have to take them with a grain of salt because in rehab starts, guys are working on different things. Maybe they want to see how an off speed pitch is going, or maybe they want to improve on hitting a certain spot, right? They want to kind of tune up their weaknesses, so to speak. It's kind of what they do in spring training, right? If a guy feels like they're weak locating their curveball, they want to throw a lot of curveballs. If they feel like their fastball needs work, they're going to throw their fastball a lot in spring training. And I think it works the same way with rehab stints. So who knows what Max Scherzer was working on. Hard to come down on him. First game back, even though you've given up a couple of home runs, looks like he ended up throwing about 52 pitches. He was thrown against Salt Lake, the Salt Lake Bees, Angels, AAA team, I believe. So no walks from what it looks like. That's a good sign, especially with the problems the Rangers starting pitchers have been having with walks. So I think all in all, pretty good from Scherzer. Pretty good from him. I think that you've got probably 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before he comes back. And that'll be a big boost to the Rangers starting rotation. Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Scherzer does in future rehab stints and starts. We'll see how many more he gets. But I think seeing him doing what he did tonight, I watched a couple of replays. Looks like the old Max. So if he can come back and be a solid number 2, number 3 guy, I don't think he's number 1 ace level at this point. Maybe some people debate me on that. I don't see Scherzer as a number 1 bona fide ace, but I do think that he can be a quality 2, a quality 3 for us. You're going to get DeGrom back later on in the year. I think he's probably the number 1 as long as he comes back doing what Jacob DeGrom does. Evo's probably your number 2, and then Scherzer probably slots in at 3. That's at least what I'm seeing right now when everybody is healthy in that Rangers starting rotation. So with that, let's keep things rolling. Let's kind of preview the matchup for tomorrow. And it looks like we have Castillo going for the Mariners. He is definitely a high-quality arm. The Rangers are going to have their hands full a little bit with Castillo. He is not pitching his best this year. I think he's at a 4.40 ERA, 1-4 on the year. So maybe the Rangers can take advantage of some early season struggles for Castillo. But at any moment, that guy can just have a dominant lights out performance. So I think the Rangers as a whole, looking at their numbers in their career against Castillo, not a ton of at-bats. Seager, I think, and Jankowski have the most with 10 at-bats. Siegs is hitting 300 off Castillo. Jankowski also hitting 300, so both are 3 for 10. Looks like Kisner has a homer off of Castillo. Maybe he'll get the start with the day game tomorrow. I mean, I don't know. Heim obviously had the weekend away on the bereavement list. So we'll see if they decide to give Jonah Heim on a day game. A rest or not, I don't know. Wouldn't be surprised, but also wouldn't be shocked if they just let him play the day game tomorrow. Probably depends on how sore he is, where he's at. But I really hate benching guys coming off of 2-hit nights. I think I've told y'all that. So Heim has 2 hits tonight. Let him play again tomorrow, unless he is just really sore or really dogging it. I don't bench guys that are coming off of hot performances. So we also have Semien with the home run against Castillo. Semien hitting 286 in his career off Castillo. So we've got some Rangers that have hit and seen Castillo pretty well in the past. Dolly, I believe, is 3 for 8 against Castillo in his career. So here we go. We've got some Rangers that definitely could have a big day tomorrow against a familiar opponent in Luis Castillo. Now, on the other side, Andrew Heaney going for us. A lot of guys who have seen Andrew Heaney. And it looks like collectively we've got Haniger as probably the most dangerous guy. Haniger has 3 bombs off Heaney in his career, hitting 364. Moore, the left fielder for the Mariners, 14 at-bats, 1 homer, hitting 357. A lot of the other guys, not a huge sample size. Crawford is 263 and 19 at bats. France, 308 and 13 at bats. So, look, some guys that Heaney is going to absolutely have to watch out for. Haniger probably being the most important one. Andrew Heaney, I think, is probably going to be making some of his last starts here, just to kind of do the crystal ball thing right now. I think when Scherzer gets back, when Bradford gets back, when those guys get back, I think Heaney is going to be on the short end, head into the bullpen. So, look, that is what I think is probably going to end up happening. We'll see what actually does transpire there, but I think the Rangers are going to want him a solid left-handed hitter in the bullpen. Just my 2 cents on that. So, Andrew Heaney, 0-2, 6.35 ERA. Feels like that ERA could only go down, but Andrew Heaney needs to do a good job limiting the walks. I think that's going to be huge for him, and making and executing his pitches against some of these hitters in this Mariners lineup that have had success off him. Moore, Haniger, France, those types of guys. But we have a 1:35 Texas time start tomorrow, 11:35 in Vegas here. So early game, and then we have some interleague play. The Reds are going to be coming to town for a 3-game set. And I believe for that 3-game set, if I'm not mistaken, Friday night, we've got Evo going again. Saturday, Lorenzen. Sunday, back to Dunning. So that's the Rangers pitching rotation layout for the rest of the weekend. Hopefully the Rangers can take tomorrow. I think it's a big game. I think you want to go into the weekend with a 1.5 game lead versus being down half a game. Look, if they lose tomorrow, it's a half game lead for the Mariners. And I think that by and large, the Rangers have played the Mariners very well. Dane Dunning makes a couple of mistake pitches last night. Mariners hit a couple of bombs that end up being the difference in the game. So I think beyond the bats just absolutely being non-existent, I can't say last night that the Mariners just totally outclassed us. And then tonight, I think we definitely used the long ball to our advantage. And I think what I take away from this series so far is that these are two pretty evenly matched teams. I do think the Mariners at this point have the pitching edge on us. Now, when we get everybody back absolutely healthy, then I think we can maybe talk and maybe think about saying we're about even, or at least that we're right there with that pitching staff. But Kirby, you have Castillo, you have the pitcher from last night, Gilbert. I mean, this is a talented rotation for the Mariners. You almost wonder how they didn't make the playoffs last year. Oh, wait, we won a game in that last series and eliminated them. Oh, how could I forget? But no, seriously, the Mariners probably should have made the playoffs last year. But I think that they have a pretty good shot this year, especially if Houston is going to keep doing what they're doing, which is just absolutely sucking against, well, I don't know, Cubs are okay, but some of these teams they're losing to, it's not like they are going to the World Series or anything. So, look, maybe it's just one of those stretches for Houston. Maybe we're going to see them turn it around. I don't know. But anytime Heaney's pitching, I got to be honest with you, just kind of looking and thinking about my predictions for tomorrow. Anytime Heaney's pitching, you really don't know what you're going to get. I could easily see him having a nice 4 or 5 innings, maybe giving up 1 or 2 runs, turning it over to the bullpen, and the Rangers' bats have come alive and given maybe a 3 or 4 run cushion, and we're on our way to a series win. I could see Heaney having a really rough game too, walking guys, giving up the long ball. I think Heaney is probably the biggest question mark for us as a starter. I think everybody else, you kind of know what you're going to get for the most part. But I think Andrew Heaney is kind of the biggest question mark at this point. So we'll see what he's got. Like I said, really feel like this is probably one of his last starts. We'll see if that ends up being true. But player of the game tonight for me, just to wrap up tonight's game, Evan Carter for sure. I'm watching some of the highlights of the game right now on my iPad as we wrap this up. But Evan Carter absolutely came to play tonight. Home run, triple, drove in, 3 tonight? 2 or 3. So huge game from Evan Carter. Would love to see him just catch a hot streak here and for the next week just be absolutely mashing the baseball. Didn't hear an update on Seager yet. That's going to be one that we watch, but hopefully precautionary. Maybe Siegs gets the day off tomorrow. That would not surprise me. He's kind of a getting off day every week kind of guy. So we'll see if Seager ends up playing tomorrow or not. His average does dip down to 256. So Semien and Siegs. Semien is at 257. Siegs is at 256. So look, there's what 137 something like that games left. There's a lot of baseball left to be played. Would be ideal if the 1-2 hitters were hitting a little bit better for us. I really feel like this team is most dangerous when both those guys are right. But that being said, great job from the bottom half of the order, including Adolis Garcia, to really ignite this team and get us a win in this series. So good stuff from the Rangers tonight. I always love doing these lives after a Rangers win. It makes it so much better. So with that, I think we're just about done. By the way, Mavs ended up redeeming the night last night. That was a fun game. Luka is him. Man, that was an incredible performance. Was such a fun game to watch, especially late in that fourth quarter. Mavs absolutely saved the night last night after a dreadful Rangers performance. Don't know what the Stars score, what the Stars and Knights are. Y'all know I'm a little bit torn. Grew up cheering for the Stars when I lived in the DFW area, but have fallen in love with the Golden Knights being out here in Vegas. This is a tough series for me, but it's a good one and kind of becoming a little bit of a rivalry. Looks like the Knights are up 2-1 at the end of the second period, so we're going to go catch the third period here in just a little bit and finish that one out. Should be a great finish. That's becoming a little bit of a rivalry, but I'm looking forward to seeing the Mavs on Friday night. Hopefully at AAC we can get things rocking and take a 2-1 series lead. But that was sure a fun game to watch last night. Mavs tying up the series 1-1 with the Clippers. Luka going off. And that is just absolutely a joy to watch when that happens. Don't know how you can't give Luka the MVP. I know Jokic is probably going to win it, but Luka is just on another level. On another level, man. I think you've seen how dominant of a ball player he has become, and I feel like he gets better every single year. The defense is getting better. Hard for me not to think Luka is going to be denied an MVP this year, but it's looking like it's going to happen, unfortunately. But a lot of good stuff going on in DFW sports. Stars, Mavs, Rangers. Hopefully, good things for all those teams. Thank you all for joining tonight. Appreciate you. Know you got a ton of options, but thank you for coming here, hanging out, talking Rangers baseball with us. We'll have a reel out early, probably tomorrow morning for all my people watching from Texas with the early game tomorrow. We'll probably put that out sometime mid-morning here in Vegas for us. So look for that one. Thank you, by the way, for liking, for sharing, for following us on all our socials. We greatly appreciate the support. We started this, guys, just wanting to talk Rangers baseball with other Rangers fans and wanted to talk sports with other sports fans around the world. And that's what's been awesome about this channel and about this experience. So thank you so much, truly. And as we always say here at Right on Rangers, God bless, go Rangers. Hope y'all have a great night, and we'll see y'all back here tomorrow, probably sometime early evening, late afternoon. See y'all.